1,000 Taliban prisoners, 7 Western soldiers, a fortress uprising. The SBS called in airstrikes on their own position. 1 CIA officer was beaten to death. It was the bloodiest battle of the Afghanistan war. But that's absolutely rubbish. It was actually worse. November 25th, 2001. Qala-i-Jangi fortress, northern Afghanistan. Hundreds of prisoners were being held there, all foreign Taliban and Al-Qaeda fighters. They were supposed to be secured, disarmed, harmless. They weren't. The prisoners were being interrogated, searched for intelligence. It was routine. Then one prisoner detonated a grenade, killed himself and 2 guards. Chaos erupted. The prisoners attacked. They overwhelmed the guards, seized the weapons armory. Within minutes, the prisoners were armed and fighting. This is the Battle of Qala-i-Jangi, 6 days of hell, the most brutal close quarters battle of the Afghanistan war, and the day the SBS were called in to help. Welcome back to the war. CIA officer Johnny Michael Spann was in the courtyard when it started, interrogating prisoners. His partner, David Tyson, was nearby. The grenade went off. Prisoners rushed them. Spann drew his pistol, started firing, dropped several prisoners, but there were too many. They swarmed him, beat him, took his weapon, shot him twice. He was the first American killed in the Afghanistan war. Tyson managed to get to the northern side of the compound, having to fight his way there, with reports saying he killed up to 40 terrorists. But the battle had just begun. Tyson, now trapped with a German TV crew, managed to contact the US Embassy in Uzbekistan. A rescue force was sent, 9 Green Berets and 8 men from Z Squadron SBS. The Northern Alliance also sent reinforcements. The Taliban prisoners weren't disorganised. They'd planned this. They seized the armory, distributed weapons, set up defensive positions, mortars, heavy machine guns, RPGs. They turned the fortress into a battlefield. 2 FA-18 Hornets dropped 500-pound bombs on the armory, which was serving as a base of fire for the entrenched prisoners. Day 1 ended. The Taliban still held half the fortress. The SBS and US held the walls. Johnny Spann's body was still inside somewhere in the compound. The Taliban had it. November 26, Day 2. It happened. An F-18C Hornet dropped a 2,000-pound bomb onto a friendly position after the pilot entered the wrong coordinates. The explosion was massive. Shrapnel tore through the area. The explosion killed several Afghans. Several soldiers were wounded from the SBS and Green Berets. The T-55 tank flipped over, but the Taliban were still fighting. They emerged from the tunnels, launched counterattacks, mortars, RPG, small arms fire. By nightfall, the Taliban retreated underground again, but the main ammo store was hit, creating a massive explosion that burned through the night. Day 2 ended. Still no resolution. Day 3 began. On Day 3, the Allies recaptured most of the fort using systematic assaults supported by tanks and other armoured vehicles. On Day 4, November the 28th, the Taliban were still in the basement, approximately 100 of them, armed, defiant. The SBS and Americans tried everything. Grenades down the tunnels, gunfire, nothing worked. Another attempt to persuade the prisoners to surrender failed. The Afghans managed to recover Spann's body earlier on the 28th. On Day 5, General Dostum, the local anti-Taliban warlord, had an idea. Let's flood them out. They diverted water from the irrigation channel, pumped it into the basements. Thousands of gallons. The water rose. The the Taliban had two choices: drown or surrender. Some drowned, some fought to the death, some surrendered. By the end of day 5, it was basically over. 86 Taliban prisoners survived out of 500. The rest were dead. The final count: 500 Taliban and Al-Qaeda prisoners. 86 survived. 1 CIA officer, Johnny Michael Spann, and 73 Northern Alliance soldiers were killed. 4 SBS soldiers were wounded, and multiple American Special Forces were also wounded. The Battle of Qala-i-Jangi was over. Johnny Spann's body was recovered. He was 32 years old, a former Marine, a CIA officer, a father. He was posthumously awarded the Intelligence Star, the CIA's highest honour. His death was a reminder that the war on terror had just begun, and it would cost lives. The SBS soldiers who fought at Qala-i-Jangi were never publicly named. That's how the SBS operates. No glory, no recognition, just the mission. But they'd held the line, against impossible odds, for 6 days. The battle became a case study: how not to handle prisoners, how quickly a routine operation can turn into a bloodbath. November 25th, 2001. 500 Taliban prisoners revolted in a fortress in Afghanistan. Western soldiers from the SBS and Green Berets fought them off for 6 days. They called in airstrikes on their own position. They flooded the basement to force surrender. 86 prisoners survived. Approximately 414 died. 1 CIA officer was killed. Johnny Mike Spann, the first American casualty of the Afghanistan war. 8 SBS soldiers helped hold the line against impossible odds for 6 days. This is the Battle of Qala-i-Jangi, the bloodiest, most brutal battle of the early Afghanistan war. The day Special Forces faced 500 prisoners and won. Now go check out our other videos of the SES and SBS missions.
But charismatic.
Hi soldiers, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, let us know your thoughts in the comments, and check out our merch and membership programs. And don't forget to check back in again soon. That's an order.